Today we have organizations, abilities, and creatures. Hello, welcome to the video. We are back at it again with more Death Stranding 2 lore discussions and explanations. Sorry. And as always, we do not have a script. I never script my videos. They are all freeform, which means anything can happen. Sometimes I just yap for a little too long or stutter or do stupid stuff. But also what happens is we have sometimes me saying spoilers. Because there's no script, it means that I can sometimes say spoilers that maybe shouldn't be said, or I didn't realize we were a spoiler, or I just slipped out. So because of that, I like to remind all of you that these videos in the lore series, this counts for pretty much every other video, even if there isn't any spoilers in some of them, I'm still gonna tell you to take a little bit of caution just in case. That's what I'm gonna tell you to do. There are most likely gameplay and heavy story spoilers. So you've been warned. This video contains story and gameplay spoilers. Spoiler galore is what is going to be contained in this video. You have been warned. All right, now that you've been warned, let's get into what we are talking about in this video. So we have a lot of stuff that's in the corpus, and I decided, there's so much weird stuff, and a lot of it is actually like, other than the stuff that we did, a lot of it is kind of just, just stuff that is based on gameplay, and it has really good explanations for a lot of the gameplay stuff, but they're just gameplay, right? They're just gameplay elements, right? There is a section that I really like, and it's called facilities, and that's one that I do want to get to because there's a lot of cool facilities that it happens. It shows a lot of monorails and the history behind them, and a lot of different distribution centers. There's also, of course, just the distribution people, right? Like there's a lot of people in there. That's in the people section where there's a lot of people, and that's a section I want to get into at some point. Of course, there's the ghost mechs, which we haven't done yet, but this video should finish up the extra just miscellaneous stuff that isn't related to a facility or a person or anything like that. This is the last sections that are story related, that are related to that type of stuff that is not necessarily gameplay focused, right? Granted, there are some things, like I said, like some gameplay stuff that does have some story stuff in them, and we'll just have to look in them and kind of like pick and pinpoint them later on in another video when we really like dig deep into that, even if we even do. But we're going to start with, in this one, because this is organizations, there's 7 organization ones, and there are 2 in a very small section that is kind of towards the top called abilities, and then there are, the longest one is actually the creatures. So that'll make this video a little bit longer, but we just want to kind of finish up this extra stuff and kind of get on our way. I mean, the highlight of this video is probably going to be the creatures. So yeah, that's why we're going to do those last. We're going to start with abilities since there's only 2 of them and they're very short. So dooms, a strange condition first identified around the time of the Death Stranding. Dooms imbues sufferers with a range of abnormal powers. Although the exact nature of the condition differs from person to person, one symptom common to all doom sufferers is a strong connection with the beach in the world of the dead. Coming into contact with things related to the dead, such as BTs and chiralium, causes doom sufferers to develop goosebump-like skin marks and a condition known as chiral rash. And this was mentioned in a previous episode when we talked about that. And the first sentence is actually the most important one. It's a condition that it imbues doom sufferers with abnormal powers. Basically, doom sufferers in this world are superheroes. Literally, it says it themselves. It just says dooms imbue sufferers with a range of abnormal powers. It even says that not only does it differ from each person, so they have different powers, but the main reason why they have the power, it even tells us why, is because they have a connection to the beach in the world of the dead. They don't tell you why they do have a connection to the beach in the world of the dead. It just tells you that the reason why they have powers is because they have a connection to the beach. So this also goes for different doom sufferers, which is actually interesting that they call them sufferers, because they don't consider it a positive. They don't consider it to be a positive to be this abnormal, power wielding person. So certain doom sufferers are Sam, Fragile, Tomorrow, Rainy, I believe Tarman, but I might be wrong. Almost every character in the game that you meet is going to be some type of doom sufferer, right? Like at this point, doom sufferer isn't some random thing that's a few select people have. Almost everybody has it in this world. But it is interesting to discover stuff more about dooms, and I feel like they'll talk more about dooms when we get into character stuff. But this is a good overview of dooms. But then we have Repatriates. Sam's condition to the world of the dead has been severed. By the way, I don't believe we've met any other Repatriates other than Sam. I might be wrong, but I don't remember any other Repatriates ever existing in this game series other than Sam. Just saying. But yeah, Sam's connection to the world of the dead has been severed. As a result, even if he dies and his soul is departed from his body, it will only go as far as the seam. Notice the first sentence. His connection to the world of the dead has been severed. Wow, I never heard it explained like that. I wonder why. By the way, I believe it does actually explain in the first game how that works, but what's funny is I never actually did an episode on Sam. Like back when I did the Death Stranding stuff on the first game, I never did an episode on Sam. So I actually missed out on specifics of his story in that game. So hopefully later on in the series, and not even hopefully, later on in the series, we will make sure that we have a section for Sam, like a dedicated video to Sam. Let's just get it out the way, do the dedicated video, understand his whole story from beginning to end. It's going to be a good video. We'll get to that later on, and we can really understand what it means by this, right? Don't spoil me in the comments, right? I'm already spoiling you, but don't spoil me back. Don't tell me. Let me understand it. Let me go look at it and read it. Hopefully they'll tell us what that means, right? What it means that he has a connection to the world of, that his connection to the world of the dead has been severed. Granted, I could kind of guess that maybe it's the fact that he died already and then he was brought back by Amelie. So in that sense, maybe that is related, but I don't know, right? So I have to let you know if I don't know something. I don't know. Hopefully we will discover it later on, all right? I'm not some genius. I'm just someone also discovering the lore just like you. People will be looking at these lore reading channels and like, yeah, they're like geniuses. They know every intricate detail of the lore. No, I'm just discovering it like you are. That's what the series is. I'm not some person who's discovered every intricate thing. And even then, with this game, even if I do to explore every intricate facet of the game, there's still plot holes and things that are unexplained. That's how it is with some things. So with this game in particular, there are things that are still unexplained and are still plot holes. Like, just how it is. That's how it works, and it's hard to avoid plot holes. It's hard to avoid non-explained things, but sometimes you miss it, or sometimes you write things in a certain way and you forgot past stuff that you wrote that worked a certain way, but then you changed it. It's just how it goes. But as a result, even if he dies, his soul is separated from his body. It will only go as far as the seam, a staging post between this world and the beach. So like you have this world, the seam, the beach, the afterlife, right? That's in essence what we got here. And then he goes there and says a staging post between this world and the beach before returning, effectively bringing Sam back to life. Sam is also able to physically visit the beach. However, if his soul were to be separated from his body there, it would proceed directly to the world of the dead. In other words, Sam is able to die when he is on the beach. At least he kept it simple. I mean, many times even Higgs counts this out. He says in the first and second game, he says, Sam, you do know that you will die here if I kill you. And that's always his like threat that he has on the beach is, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Sam. I'm gonna kill you. That's his threat, right? But of course, you know what I'm saying, you ain't killing the protagonist unless you're that protagonist, if you know what I mean. Joel. Anyway, so spoilers for other games I didn't expect. All right, sorry. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Cry about it. Anyway, we literally just spent 10 minutes talking about literally just 2 abilities. Imagine how long this video is going to be. These videos are going to keep getting longer. It is what it is, bro. It's just how it is. But that's Repatriates. It's very interesting to explore that when we get into more of it when we go into Sam's thing, but we kind of get the gist, you know what I mean? So we get on that. The next one before the amazing animals section, the little creatures, is organizations. I'll go over them as an overview so you can know what to expect. We have the UCA, Bridges First Expedition, which is interesting because that's like a thing that they did. I don't know that that's really an organization. It's more just Bridges. It's like an event. Either way, then we have Fragile Express, Drawbridge, APAC, and Preppers. This will be interesting because I like to explore like, okay, what are the sides, right? What do we got here, right? And this is a little bit of a shorter section. The longest one here is, I believe, the Bridges section. So this one we can get past pretty quickly, assuming we don't yap for 10 minutes about every single individual line in these. So let's get through them. Hey, let's get through them. First one, UCA. UCA stands for United States of America. That's not what it stands for. I'm reading it wrong, but in my mind it said United States of America. Here's what the text actually says. Run that back. UCA stands for the United Cities, not states. The United Cities of America. The Death Stranding led to the destruction of the UCA. Sorry, I'm now reading this bad too. It's too similar. The Death Stranding led to the destruction of the USA, leaving its people and cities divided and isolated. Bridget Strand, the last president of the USA, so close, of the USA, devoted her life to rebuilding America by connecting its cities. Sam worked with Bridges, an organization under the president's direct control, to connect North America to the Chiral network. In doing so, he fulfilled Bridges' dying wish. There's nothing else to say here. This is basically just based on the first game. Text speaks for itself. I have nothing to say. We have Bridges, what we were just talking about. An organization under the direct control of President Strand formed in order to rebuild the ruined USA. Almost said the other one again. Bridges comprised several departments, including medical, corpse disposal, security, and so on. The largest of these departments was the expedition team, which of course we're going to talk about next, tasked with connecting North America to the Cairo network. The first expedition, led by Amelie, set out to establish network infrastructure all over the continent. Upon reaching the west coast, however, Amelie was captured by terrorists. Sam was also a member of Bridges, but left following a tragic incident. I can say Sam left following a tragic incident, and they don't even elaborate. 10 years later, President Bridget Strand called him back and asked him to cross the American continent and rebuild the country. I'm not doing great today. Immediately after this, hey, that's normal for me. So hey, it is what it is. We don't. Hey, every dog has to stay. You know what I mean? Immediately after this request was made, however, Bridget died. Di Hardman took over, and under his direction, Bridges provided support for Sam as he used his Cupid to establish the UCA. Soon afterward, rapid advances in communication technology meant that deliveries could be automated, and human deliveries became a thing of the past. This is just explaining the story of the first game and bringing us up to speed. Nothing else to be said. Bridges' first expedition. A team formed to establish the infrastructure for the Cairo network. They set off from Central Knot City on the east coast of North America, 3 years before Sam began his own journey to link them up. That's not what it says. I'm adding text, adding words. The first expedition was led by Bridget's daughter, Amelie. The group split in two halfway through their journey, with one team proceeding toward the west coast and the other heading south towards Mexico. Amelie made it to the west coast, only to be abducted by terrorists. Sam, therefore, set out on his own journey across North America, not only to establish the UCA, but to rescue Amelie. This is again just explaining the first game. What it says is all there is. I have nothing else to say. We played the first game, we talked about it, that's it. Then we have Fragile Express. The Death Stranding destroyed the United States, toppling its government and grinding its social infrastructure to a halt. In its place, private porters began allocating and distributing resources of their own, of their own accord. One such delivery organization was Fragile Express, founded by Fragile's father. After he died, Fragile took control and continued where he had left off, but the rise of APAC eventually made the organization redundant, leading to its disbandment. We did talk about Fragile Express and her father and his story in the past, so check out the video on that. It'll probably be the video that says Fragile's name in it or something. Anyway, we have Drawbridge, a private delivery organization recently established by Fragile. Since APAC has taken over deliveries within the Cairo network, human porters are no longer required. Outside the network, however, they remain as essential as ever. That includes Mexico and Australia. That's my text, my words, not theirs. Leaving Drawbridge to conduct deliveries beyond the borders of the UCA. Enough said. APAC, the automated public assistance company. APAC is a private body that operates and manages the Cairo network and APAC 4000 on behalf of the UCA. Mexico and Australia are no longer functioning political states, but if another nation like the UCA were to begin connecting them to the Cairo network, we'll be killing it right now, it may well be interpreted as an act of invasion or colonization. To avoid any such misunderstandings, it was therefore decided that the Cairo network would be expanded by a private organization, a non-state actor. APAC is nothing more than a provider of Cairo network infrastructure and holds no political weight, and that is absolute cap. Anyway, APAC 4000 gathers and analyzes data from Knot cities. It then provides its finding to citizens and other organizations to ensure the efficient management and operation of the UCA. APAC 4000 is also the operating system through which these operations are conducted and is sometimes referred to as KCOS, Knot City Operating System. So APAC is pretending, because we all know that ain't really how it be, right? But to be honest, realistically, it isn't the UCA, right? It is just literally what it says here, right? They help link up all these different places. They're expanding the network, blah, blah, blah. They're doing what they say they do for the wrong reasons, but they're still doing what they say they do. Either way, preppers is the last one. The Death Stranding has led to the downfall of nations and the destruction of communities large and small. Most people have therefore sought the protection offered by cities, but some prefer to survive on their own or in small groups. Many of them live in underground shelters and are known as preppers. Some people choose this lifestyle willingly, while others were forced to flee to shelters for safety. By now, there are quite a few people who were born in these shelters and know no other way of living. Preppers have managed to survive on their own wits in the desolate world left behind by the death stranding, and many of them tend to distrust countries and other institutions as a result. We knew this with the Elder he distrusted, and plenty of others in the first one. The second game doesn't have as much people who distrust, Sam and stuff, but it still has a few. We'll get into that later when we talk about preppers and stuff. But yeah, that's about it for that. There's not really much to say about that. We have creatures next. This will be the most important part here. We have a lot to go through in creatures, honestly. Like, there's a lot of text. So much so that this is actually a two-parter video. I'm sorry to tell you. I looked at it once again. I was just like, wait a second. So many of the creatures have like a immense immense amount of text. It would literally make this video incredibly long. So even though I said that was part of the video, you've been absolutely bamboozled. Go ahead and cry about it. But I will not end this video in a normal way, just to make it seem like this is like a part of a two-parter. In the next video, we'll pick up off from where we left off with a quick spoiler warning at the beginning. Otherwise, it'll just be relatively acting like a pickup off point as though it's a two-parter. But that's where I'm going to end this video.